Greetings and welcome to today's edition of Farhang Connect, a series of live virtual talks featuring influential Iranians from around the world. I am Alireza Ardakani, Executive Director of Farhang Foundation here in Los Angeles. We are a member-supported, non-political, non-religious, not-for-profit organization with the sole mission to celebrate and promote Iranian art and culture for the benefit of the community at large. We welcome you to today's talk with San Diego's own Fox 5 morning news anchor and journalist, Shally Zomorodi, who is joining us for a conversation with today's host, actor and writer Nazanin Nour. Shally Zomorodi has been waking up San Diego for more than a decade. A dedicated journalist, Ms. Zomorodi launched her news career as an assistant on KTTV FOX 11 Los Angeles, quickly advancing into an on-air reporting position in Beaumont, Texas. Ms. Zomorodi woke up Southwest residents of the Lone Star State to breaking local and national news. Her embracing personality and dedicated reporting returned her to the Southland and family she loves dearly in Orange County. She reported for LA City View in Los Angeles and then became the anchor of Daybreak OC, a 2-hour live morning show broadcasting from the heart of Orange County for all of Southern California. Versed in international broadcasting as a reporter for Voice of America, Ms. Zomorodi now brings her global skills, diversity, and Southland knowledge to Fox 5 in San Diego. She credits her success in broadcasting to pageants. She notably won the title of Mrs. California Globe, and she has also held the titles of Miss Orange County Teen USA and Miss Orange County USA. She left law school to pursue her dream to work in broadcasting and says she's working her dream job every day because of pageants. Shally recently started her successful podcast called It Is What It Is with Shal Z, and she has just finished writing her beautiful new children's book titled Mila, Caterpillars Become Butterflies. In her spare time, Ms. Zomorodi loves to cook and of course dance. She and her husband Bruce have 4 children and they love to travel as a family and explore the world together. Today, we are also delighted to welcome Ms. Nazanin Nour. Nazanin Nour is an actor, writer, host, and voiceover artist. She began her professional career working in corporate litigation after graduating from George Mason University with a bachelor's degree in government and international politics, double majoring in communications with a minor in media criticism. After moving to New York City and working for an international litigation firm, she decided that her legal career path was unfulfilling and she made the choice to pursue a career in entertainment. She has appeared in several television shows, including Madam Secretary, Criminal Minds, and Political Animals. Her most recent feature film was the psychological thriller, 1,000 Little Cuts. Her most recent voiceover role was the audio play Wish You Were Here, which is now available on Audible. She recently co-wrote and starred in a short horror film called All of You, which premiered at the River Run International Film Festival and recently screened at the LA International Horror Film Fest. Ms. Nour has always had an affinity for comedy and political satire and trained in improv as well as sketch comedy at the famed Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in both New York City and Los Angeles. She used this training to begin creating and shooting her own sketches, which quickly went viral. These short-form content videos caught the attention of the producers of Persia's Got Talent, and she was cast as a judge on the first season, which aired in 2020 and 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Shally Zomorodi and Nazanin Nour. Good morning, Shally Jan. Good morning, Nazanin Jan.
Hi. Morning.
How are you guys today?
So good and so good to be here. I was waiting for the musical intro. I usually come in always with a dance.
due, due to licensing, we cannot air music during the live portion of the program.
I know, but I have a soundtrack always playing in my head, so we're good.
And that's what we love about you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to be here with us, both of you. I know how busy you both are. So without further ado, I will step away. But before I do, I want to remind everyone that we will be holding a Q&A towards the end of today's talk. So please submit your Q&A questions through the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And I will be back to discuss the questions from the audience. But for now, I'll hand things over to Nazanin John, and I will be enjoying the talk from the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Alireza June, and it's my pleasure to be here, especially with you, Shally June. I can give you a little intro if you want.
Yes, give me an intro. Whatever you want to do, you're in charge today.
It's gonna be slow, but well, I was gonna sing for you, but we'll set that aside.
No, don't set that aside. I want to hear.
It's just gonna be a little bit of a Sobet Becheir Aziza.
Why?
Don't remember the rest of the lyrics, so we're gonna for copyright reasons. We're not gonna go on. But Shally June, I feel like it's 11:11, so everybody make a wish.
Okay.
Everyone put out the positive energy. Putting it out there for everybody, sending love here to Iran and everywhere. I feel like by this point of the day, you have had your coffee, you've worked, you've done things with the kids, you've probably written another book, you did a couple of podcasts, you made some gorma sabzi, and then like, I just woke up and had coffee. So welcome with your busy schedule. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Saturdays are more of my recoup and get my energy back kind of days. But you are right. By 11 o'clock, I am full blown. Most of my day is past, and I'm usually home right around this time to start what I call the hardest job of my day, and that's to be a mommy to 4 kids.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit about how you make that world go round. But I wanted to start with the fact that you've obviously been known, as Alireza June said, for being an anchor on Fox 5 down in San Diego, and you've done a myriad of other things before that. But a short while ago, you went viral for your behind the scenes clip at Fox 5 dancing to our beloved Shally Zomorodi. And that was so fun. That was actually the first time I got to see you as well. And I was like, who is this fun person? I wanted to ask you, just starting with that, I'm assuming that's not the first time that that's happened, but it's probably the first time it went viral. What was that like? What's it like behind the scenes over there and being, you know, the Iranian-American on set?
Yeah, you are right. That is not the first time that we've danced at Fox 5. I have been dancing. Probably I danced into this world when I was born. And I from learning how to belly dance when I was a kid and being in cheerleading and dancing, it's just been one of those things that regardless of what happens in my life, the good and the bad, dancing somehow centers me and gets me through this thing called life. Especially when you get up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, as us news people do in the middle of the night. You imagine when you walk into a studio, we got a lot of grumpy people. Not everybody's a morning person like me. And many, many years ago, before Shally Zomorodi, I would make sure that when I walked in there, I'm like, crank up the music, let's go. Like, we have a show to put on, and we would just dance. And music is one of those things that it wakes up the soul. And whether it is American music, Spanish music, my personal favorite Persian music, which has a place in my heart, it's just been something that I've leaned on my whole entire life. And many years ago, before we even went viral, this Persian dancing has been a thing at Fox 5 for a really, really long time. We've been celebrating Nowruz, and I love when Nowruz falls during the morning show, because we'll straight up put a countdown timer and we count down to Sol Tawil together, and they throw confetti and everybody lines up for their AD, and it's so amazing. It's so amazing to see people dance to Persian music now, and they ask me, when are we going to care next time? I love it.
That's nice. I love that. That must feel very welcoming from people who aren't Iranian. And I assume you grew up in California. So I feel like because California has the largest concentration of Iranians outside of Iran, that more people are familiar with our culture. But I'm not sure if that was your experience growing up. How was it growing up here as an Iranian?
I wasn't always in California. When I was, we've lived in Chicago, in Florida, in New York. So I've moved around quite a bit in Texas. So not everywhere you could find a whole lot of Iranians. And even when I lived in California when I was younger, we lived in the Antelope Valley, and there was a very small group of Iranians who lived there. So when I heated up my horma sabzi for lunch for school, didn't go too well at that time. Now, when I heat up horma sabzi at Fox 5, every co-anchor runs in the kitchen and says, Shally, what are you making? Can I have a bite? Because Persian food is just, again, Persian music and Persian food. I love all food and all like music around the world, but those two, hands down, the best. The best.
What's your favorite thing to cook? Your top 3 favorite Persian dishes to cook.
I love horma sabzi, hands down.
Yeah.
I love making lubia polo because my kids inhale it.
Oh, that's good.
And I am now getting better at making baghalagato, which is a Shomali Rashti dish, because my mom's side of the family are all Rashti, like Tijana Orban, hardcore Rashtis.
Yeah.
So to learn how to be able to make food from the part of Iran they're from, I've always been so intimidated to cook like them, but I'm getting it now. I'm getting really good at it.
What is that dish? What's in it?
It's those, like, you can make them with fava beans or different beans. It's green. It has a dill in there. It has egg in there. A lot of garlic. A lot of garlic. It is, Nazanin, next time you come to my house and we have a ghair battle, I'll make you baghalagato.
Yeah. Well, I think whoever wins should cook.
Okay.
A better dancer than you are going to have to cook. I always say that the reason I don't cook Persian food is because my mom makes it so well. I don't want to, disappoint. But it's so difficult. So the fact that you also add that to your day is like, wow.
You know what? It actually isn't difficult. And that was one of the things I learned when I did this whole cooking with people live. And now I'm working on a cookbook with all kinds of people from social media. I was always, for many years, intimidated to make tahdig and rice. Like, our family used to own a restaurant many, many years ago. And the women cooks in this house put everybody to shame. Like, you don't even want to go in the kitchen when the Rashti sisters are cooking. Yeah. But once I actually got into it and I made the tahdig, it's kind of like our little daf thing that we have in common. It looks so intimidating from the outside. Yeah. And then you start making tahdig, and then you make the horma sabzi. You're like, oh my gosh, I did it. Or I'm playing daf. Oh my gosh, I did it. Yeah. Then you realize it's all up in your head, girl. You know how to cook Persian food.
Yeah, it's also, I feel like, really time consuming.
Yes.
Funny that the woman who is a multi-hyphen and has 4 kids can do it, and I, who don't have kids, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, it's just too much time. I can't do it. I'll try. I'll come to your house and you can teach me a dish. I love that. Okay. So you started, I would like to know first what made you want to go into the pageant world, because we touched upon that. And then how that kind of segued into the rest of your professional career. What was the start of that? How did your culture inform these decisions in your life too?
Okay, so I've shared this story before. As growing up, I had a hard time. I mean, I was bullied often. I was called a lot of names, very vividly, still to this day. In my 40s, I remember being called an Iranian terrorist. You wanted to hang out with me. Very, very few friends. And that was hard, like as a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old and going into high school that way, it shapes who you are and who you are decades and decades later. I think there was probably a moment, I saw like a sign up at the mall where I was working and selling cookies for a pageant. And now that I look back and I reflect, I wonder if the reason I got into those pageants is because everybody told me when I was younger, you're not pretty enough. You're not good enough. You don't fit in. I'm not blonde, blue eyes. That I entered that thinking, okay, let me try this. And then when I stood on stage and they put the crown on my head and I won, I went, are they serious? Me? Yeah. And I looked at the other girls and they're, these beautiful, beautiful women. And that I said, okay, there has to be something here. And that's how that all started. So the little pageants turned into bigger pageants and they just kept going. And with everyone that I won, and I was quite successful in that, I think a lot of it came that I wasn't always the tallest, the prettiest, the thinnest, because sometimes, and unfortunately in that world, there's so much that goes to like your physique.
Yeah.
But I sure knew how to talk on stage.
Yeah.
And when they used to ask me a question, like some of the other girls, they would just freeze and they didn't know what to say. And I'm like, okay, let me just tell you how it goes.
And then therefore, this leads me to, yeah.
So that's how that whole world started. So I did pageants until maybe 15 years ago. I stopped.
So then what made you stop?
Like I got married and started having kids.
You're like, okay, that's one thing you don't have time for then. How did you get into, did you want to go to law school? Did you want to be an attorney? What kind of,
no, absolutely not. I knew I wanted to do television news. I knew from when I was really, really young. Yeah. And I studied it. I went to Cal State Fullerton. And then my husband now I've known for 22 years. And back then we knew the reality for me to go into broadcasting, I was going to need to move out of California and start in a very small town. And he just didn't want us to do long distance. So he asked, could you like do something else? Like maybe, and I'm like, okay. Picked up another major, went into political science, went into law school. And at that time I was Miss Orange County and I competed for Miss California. Okay. And I was in Miss California studying law books and I won an award for journalism that night from the producers of Good Day LA, which a lot of you, anybody in Los Angeles knows that show. Mm-hmm. Long story short, that award, which was supposed to be just one day, go visit the studios, turned into an internship, turned into a full-time job. Then I started working for ABC. And from there, I quit law school. I never went back. And this is what I've been doing since that day.
It was the best decision, I would say, of your professional career?
Best decision, because they say, and I often lean on this quote, is find a job you love and you never work a day in your life. I wake up for the past 20 something years at 1, 2, or 3 in the morning, depending on what my job was. And as much as it's uncomfortable and it hurts because it doesn't, not normal to wake up in the middle of the night, I wake up with such love for life and for my job. And I'm so excited to do what I do and so grateful for this opportunity that I worked so incredibly hard for. For me, it doesn't feel like, for me, I'm like, you guys paid me for this? Like somebody's giving me money to do this? Yeah. And I don't regret it at all. And on the flip end, my husband, who a few years ago when we started having kids was so bored with me going to bed at 5 p.m, he decided to go to law school. So in the middle of running a company, my Brucey went to law school and now he's an attorney. And I watched him go through that. And I'm like, I'm so glad I quit.
Law school and being an attorney, I mean, from my small experience working in law, you really have to like doing it, or you have to make peace with the fact that I don't really like this, but it's stable and it pays me well. Yes. You know?
Yeah.
So, how to be one of those two things. I have a question because you said internship. I've heard in a previous interview that you talked about the internship that you had, and then how that made you, it kind of almost changed your perspective on the way the way that you interact with other interns that come in or other people that are starting out in the career path that you went through. What did you mean by that exactly? And can you expand on that a little bit?
I look at a lot of these college students and people who want this job, and I see, when I look at them, I see me. I see that girl that wanted that job so bad, and I see being denied over. It took me a year to get my first on-air gig, and I was denied, and then I was denied, and I was told I didn't have the look, and then I was denied, and I dealt with that for such a long time that for many people, they'd be like, I'm out of here. Like, what is this? But it took somebody opening the door for me. It took somebody believing in me. that started that whole avalanche of a career. And still to this day, every job that I've gotten since I worked at Good Day LA has always been because somebody saw me working really hard and said, this girl will show up. She knows what she's doing. And then saying, hey, I have a job. Do you want to try it? Yeah. That's how it's always been. So I remember back in those days, I felt hopeless. I was sad. I felt like maybe I'm not good at this. I wanted to give up. And I told myself, if I ever get into a position where I'm successful, if I can lend out a hand to others and see if I can help them, advise them. I can't get everybody a job. Like, you got to do that. But at least to open a door for them and talk to them. If my time allows it, I'm there to do it.
I think that also goes kind of hand in hand with the fact that you loved what you were doing, even when you were starting out and it was difficult. And that, I feel like whenever you actually listen to your true self and what you really want, and you kind of shut out society and the noise and you focus on what you want, you become really good at it. And other people take notice to the point where you don't really have to go prove yourself. The opportunities come to you. And then I feel like that also helps you be able to reach out to other people, because exactly like you said, you know what they're going through. And that's the cycle of success. I feel like, would you agree that the cycle of success also depends on people who have gone up to the top level, putting their hand down to the people that are trying to come up?
Like, I'm not going to be on the news forever. Like, at some point I'm out, and there's a whole generation that needs to come up and keep this all going, keep everything that we're doing. You know, it's the same, Nazanin, that goes with like our culture. There was a time that I remember, and even still to this day, people were not proud to be Iranian. I mean, I remember, like, in our own family, there were people that were like, I'm Italian. I'm like, what do you mean you're Italian? What is that? Why are you changing your name to like somebody else? But now I'm hoping that if I can do these things as the messages that I get from people on social, that you make me proud to like put my head up and say, yeah, I'm Iranian. And if you can do it, then I can do it. So that goes with our next generation coming this way, that I can look back to them and say, okay, look, you can do this. You could be on TV and be a journalist and hold your head up and put Sharm Shapara on and do all of these things. And nobody's gonna, I'm not gonna say nobody's gonna shame you for it, but you can have fun doing it.
Yeah. I think we're also in a time period in society in general where it's become more, everyone's becoming more open to other cultures, and people actually have a hunger for learning about other people's cultures. So I think we're in like this good sweet spot. Like you said, doesn't mean there's not negativity there, of course, it's, you know, the world. But you did say something about that, about how not everyone is going to be happy about certain things, but how do you deal with that type of negativity that comes inevitably with a large social media presence? Because while social media is a great tool to connect people, and like, you never know, your everyday life, you're inspiring so many people personally. They don't even know what you're doing with what you're doing. You're saying the things that you're trying, it's gonna inspire other people, like you said, to be like, yeah, maybe I should learn a musical instrument. I'm gonna try to cook too, you know, because they see somebody else doing it. But how do you deal with the flip side, the dark side?
Yeah. Oh, there's a dark side. There's a dark side to all this. And I tell you, it's the light. It's those people. Yeah. It's the lady that is in the hospital who has cancer and says, Shally, I don't know how much time I have left. And I just want you to know that you and Shyla, you when you dance, you make me want to live. It's for the mom who has 3 kids and say, Shally, I like legitimately have depression. And I don't want to, I don't know how to be with my kids. And I turn on your social media and I see you dancing and jumping up and down with your kids. Thank you for reminding me to put down the dishes and to get up and dance with my kids. Not that what we do in this house is always perfect, because we have dark days in this house too. We have dark days, and I try to show blips of it, even though I still like to focus on the positivity. But it's for those good people. It's for the light. It's for the love that I stay here. Other than that, it is extremely exhausting. It gives a tremendous sense of our privacy. I am emotionally abused on a daily basis on social media. And because I wear my heart on my sleeve, and if you know me, you know I'm a lover, it doesn't feel good. Like, I know that these people who come and attack, I get it. I'm in the psychological world. I'm doing everything I can to help with mental awareness. I am open to the fact that I go to a psychologist on a weekly basis for my own well-being and my own sanity and my family, because we want to grow up healthy. We want to grow up happy. Yeah. But I know that those people somewhere are so hurt, and they're maybe broken. Maybe somebody didn't show them how to love. And if you're broken and you don't know how to love, and you are living your life with resentment, rage, all of these negative emotions, then that's what you discharge on other people. So if you see somebody standing up and dancing and having a good time, you look at that person and say, she's a show off. She's getting on my nerves. She's too much. And you know, jealousy, envy, all these things start coming out, because that's the negative world. Yeah. But every time I get sucked into there, that I'm like, oh my gosh, why are they doing this? And I'm going to do this. And I cry. I mean, it hurts. Yeah. But then I get that message again from that mommy, or from that daddy, or from that lady fighting cancer. That's what keeps me here. And I hope, and I tell even those people that are in that dark side, whenever you're ready to dance, whenever you hear the music that I'm hearing, I will be right here waiting, and I will dance with you.
That's really beautiful. It's really important what you said, by the way, doing the work to understand mental health and doing the work on ourselves, because I think that's also something we don't talk about a lot in our community. It's seen as kind of a I'm blanking on the word.
Taboo. Like, it's a taboo. It's like you're going to a Ravanchanas, you're going to a psychologist.
It's like, no, actually, it's because I want to get to know myself better. So, and I think the fact that you can understand the psyche of people that come with more hate and vitriol, it really is a projection of how they're feeling about themselves most of the time. Or they might look at you and think, oh, well, why does she have all of that and all that success? What's wrong with me that I can't get there, for example? Or, you know, what's she so happy about? Because they're not as happy with themselves. But a lot of people aren't aware enough to understand that it's actually coming from within them, but they just project it onto you. But the fact that you can, you know, understand that, it's like so good for your own mental health. But you're also human. So you're going to have days where it's going to get to you. You have emotions. We all do. Like, of course, I think it's healthy that you let it out and you cry, and then you get up the next day and you do the same thing. Because that's also, spreading joy is a way to negate haters. Because if you stop doing it, then they won.
Yeah, and you know what? It's okay not to be okay. I mean, it is okay not to be okay sometimes. And I hope by sharing it and showing people, a lot of times people are like, oh, they're jealous, ignore them, just, you know, block them. Okay, but we still should have a conversation about it, because it's a form of bullying, which is why it even pushed me even more to want me to write, you know, this little Mila book. I was bullied as a child. Now, fast forward all these years, everything I've worked so hard for, still today, as a grown-up, I am bullied left and right from people on social media, whatnot. But now I have 4 little babies, 4 humans that I need to get ready to release in this world. And I know they've already been bullied. I mean, people send me messages and are bullying my kids through me. So how do I prepare them to not be a bully, to be kind, and to raise these little guys that when they go out there and you do come face to face with somebody who doesn't lead with love in their life, how do you handle it? What are you going to do during that time? Are you going to spit hate back? And that's what we're working on with our kids.
Yeah. What, have they come home to you and said these things are happening in school? I believe you've said that before. Is it similar to what you think, or is it like a different?
I don't think they've gotten the facial feature, you know, back then where we lived, you know, the dark eyebrows, big eyes, was very unique. Now, just like you say, in Southern California, we're in a different zone right now. You can't go to the supermarket nowadays without hearing somebody speaking Farsi. So they're home, you know, they don't feel as excluded as I did. But bullying comes in all kinds of forms. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. And I just want them, And I want to share my story with others to say, look, Shally went through this and then look what she's doing with her life. And it's okay. And when I'm confronted with these people who have a little tinge of darkness in them, this is how you can react to them. We don't want to be like them, but this is how you can react to them and how you can navigate around these people.
I'm curious too, did you ever speak to your parents about being bullied? And if so, what was the advice that they gave you?
Yeah, like at that time, I remember one time I came home, I told my dad that the kids were making fun of me. I remember crying so much. They said, you know, you're Iranian terrorist. And then they said, your eyes are so big. Why are your eyes so big? And I went home upset. I told my dad, and my dad said, honey, tell them that your eyes are so big and you can see right through them. So the next day I went back to school and I waited for them to come and tell me that. And when they did, I said, you know what? My eyes are so big and I can see right through you. I don't know if that necessarily worked at that time, but my dad was kind of right. Maybe I did have big eyes and I could see right through them, because as I grew up, I started to really see right through them. Now I understand where that bullying comes from. Now I understand that if this chain is not broken and you still have mothers today who are bullying other people, or you see that behavior in your own family, then we wonder why our kids are bullies. Right. So yeah, my eyes are really, really big, and I'm thankful that I have such big eyes because I can see a lot in this world. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for my big eyes.
Well, knock on wood, you have beautiful eyes, and your eyes are what people use filters on Instagram to copy. So
thank you. Thank you.
What's the message that you want people to walk away with from reading Mila? Like, what's the big takeaway from that book?
I want people who read Mila, Caterpillars Become Butterflies, to know that we are all beautiful, even as that little caterpillar, and that we all have these wings, and you just need to be patient. You just need to be patient. And when the time is right, you're going to blossom and you're going to fly. And all these people, you know, I read one verse in this, and it says, you know, Mila used to come home a lot to her mommy and be really upset. And her mommy would always tell her, be patient, be strong, my baby. It is okay to cry. But please remember that all caterpillars become butterflies. And I want to recognize that feeling of being bullied. It hurts. I don't want to brush it away. I don't want to tell somebody, oh, it's okay, it's just a phase. You're going to hurt, but I promise you things are going to get better. Believe in yourself, stand on your feet, work really, really hard. I promise you things are going to get better. And that's what I hope kids will learn. And I even made the little Mila doll for Shyla.
That artwork is really beautiful, and it actually looks like Shyla.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing, Naz. A real quick story with this. I actually went to social media to look for the illustrator. I thought it'd be so cool if I could find a complete stranger that I've met on social media to illustrate. Long story short, after getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of submissions, I found out that my own cousin in Iran, who I haven't seen in more than 40 years, is an artist.
Wow.
I don't want to get emotional because I get so emotional when I talk about my family in Iran, because I haven't seen them since I was a tiny, tiny little kid. She ended up illustrating the whole book for me. And we worked on other side of the world with language barriers and whatnot to do all of this. So I am so grateful for her. And I hope people like the story. I really do.
It's beautiful. And I feel like what you were saying about what you want people to take away, that's something adults can take away at any age. Any age. Yeah. That, but you know, I find that even as an adult, sometimes, like when I'm with my friends' kids, flipping through the children's books, you know, I'm like, wow, these are great messages. Like everybody, there's some adults I know that still don't follow these things. So yeah.
Back to the basics. Back to the basics.
I wanted to ask you also about your love for music.
Sorry.
Did you mean this? We'll get to that in a little bit. Have a little mini concert for everyone's surprise. What kind of Persian music did you start listening to first that really kind of like touched your heart? And then how did you get into being like, I want to play something too?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Because a lot of people ask me, for a girl that was born in the United States, never lived in Iran in your life, you really love Persian music. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Right? 98% of the music I play in this house and in my car is Persian music.
Love that.
And sometimes I get in a battle with my kids, but you know what? They've learned to speak Farsi because they've heard that music and that beat. And I fell in love with that because since I was a little girl, my dad did the same thing. I grew up since I was a baby, since I was in my mom's tummy, with Persian classical music. My dad plays the santur, tar, tombak, ney. My brothers play tombak, like unbelievable. So every weekend growing up, there was a food mehmuni jam session at our house, sitting on the carpet. Our parents never put us to bed. We just stayed up till 2, 3 in the morning, listening to Morghe Sahar. That is in my every cell in my body. I think it's really because of that connection, that's beat, and that especially Persian classical music. I don't dance to it as much, but oh God, it's so here.
It's like, it's just this thing that washes over. I feel exactly what you're feeling. And we had the same experiences growing up, down to the music. And it's just something happens to us.
Yes.
The opening of Morghe Sahar or Andak Andak, or just those like Asil songs, and you're like, it's almost like the energy of our ancestors is awakened of us.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that's what's carried me through life. And there was a period of time when I was a teenager that I didn't listen to Persian music as much. And I actually forgot how to speak Farsi completely. And then when I met my husband, 22 years ago, all of a sudden that whole thing awoke again. And now I'm like jamming to Sharam Shapare, and I taught myself to speak Farsi again. And that's it. And I will never stop dancing and listening to Persian music for the rest of my life. Ever.
So, well, you shouldn't. I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
It's the most fun music.
It's like the best beat in the world.
I'm surprised that more international artists, I think they are definitely starting to, but like international artists should be sampling our beats more. Like the rapper Nas did it with Kurush Yavmai's song Goliyakh, because we have really good beats that go with like every genre of music if you know how to mesh it correctly.
Yes.
So I think we're gonna see a lot more of that in the future too.
Yes. And that brought me to your question about getting into music. Yes. I maybe tried, I know you're like a good violin player. I tried for maybe like a year. Yeah. You're really good.
I'm like, I used to be good because I played for so long. Now I'm practicing again. So I need to get back to that status. Okay. Yes.
So I quit violin after a year. And I thoroughly regret, it's like the one regret I've had my whole entire life. And I tend not to regret things.
Right.
And when I'm watching my kids and I'm spending all this money for them to take piano and violin, and then somebody on social media reminded me and said, Shally, it's not too late. And I went, this strange lady is correct.
Yeah.
And I found a DAF teacher, my Ostad Masi, and it's been a few years now, off and on, depending on where I am in my life, that I have been taking DAF.
Could you give us a little something?
Oh,
just a little. I can come in with the assist if you want me to help you.
Yes, I can't even get. Okay. Okay, that's it. We're working on Morghe Sahar this morning.
Listen, you're not giving yourself enough credit, because I've seen your DAF videos and you're really good. You're like really getting the hang of it.
You know, that the ability at my age to be able to read music, because now I remember the first day he's showing me these musical notes and I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? Yeah. Now I can read and I can play. And that feeling today, Nazanin, I had DAF class before I did this with you guys. We played like 3 or 4 of those old songs, like the Morghe Sahar and a few other ones. And I was playing to the song and singing it. And I just could feel the tears coming up in my eyes. I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this. and it just shows that regardless of whether it's like the book or the DAF or anything it is in your life that you want to do, like you can do it if you just, you know, switch this thing up in your brain to say, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. And then you'll all of a sudden open your eyes one day and say, okay, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm making tadik. I'm making horma sabzi. I'm playing DAF. I wrote a children's book. I have 4 kids. I'm working as a job as a Fox News anchor. Yes, life is good.
Have to change your language too. I feel like starting our day with like, I can do this. I am going to do this, rather than thinking of the excuses of why we can't.
Yes.
And again, I love the fact that you put up videos of yourself practicing, because it helps other people know that, okay, we're all going to start from somewhere, and it's okay not to post like the perfect video with the like scenery around us. Like, it's okay. We have to get there at some point.
And that's why I post pictures of my face without makeup, because this is what I look like. I look like this. This is who I am. And I want to do that so that people are not comparing themselves all the time.
Right.
Like, when I don't ever want to be that. If I ever make anybody feel that on social media, go away. You should unfollow me so fast. And I hate that word, by the way, follow. It sounds so creepy, but just unfriend, because you shouldn't be around anybody in your life that doesn't make you feel good, doesn't make you laugh, motivate you. I hope that by sharing the things that I do in my life, it's to motivate, is to say, you know what, I can do this too, not to compare. I'm on a different speed in life. How I get up at 2, 3 in the morning and manage the 4 kids and our life is my speed. That doesn't mean it's your speed.
Right.
And with my speed comes a lot of struggles too. I mean, we have issues that we deal with in life as well. So, you know, I just put that out there because I know that people sometimes say like, you're just you showing off or this and that. I'm like, no, you don't know me all that well. No, I'm not.
When those types of comments come, it is going to be from people that don't know you personally. And so it's just, you know, just gotta brush it off. So I do have a question about future plans, because you said, oh, I'm not going to do the news forever. What do you see yourself doing, and or both, if you were given your dream show, dream scenario? What would that entail? What would that look like for Shally?
Okay, thank you. Great question. I always have wanted to be a teacher.
Oh.
So when I am done doing this TV thing, I will definitely be a teacher of some sort, probably college professor, to help develop people to go do what they do. But if I had a dream show, which I kind of do my dream show right now, is to constantly be in the kitchen and cooking and connecting with people. And just like what I do live right now on social media, I talk to people, I learn about their lives, I tell their stories, and I do it through food. So that's my dream for me.
You'd be like the Iranian-American Oprah plus like Rachel Ray plus Giada, I don't forget her last name. What's her last name?
All of those. Yes, that's exactly what I want to be. All of those encompassing conversation, positivity, and food and life and everything together.
So if you could give like a little, like let's say right now, let's say we're at a college graduation and you're giving like a little commencement speech. Can we get a glimpse into what you would tell the younger generation on keys to success, keys to being happy that have worked for you?
Yeah, oh, that's a hard question, Nazanin. Like, you gotta like focus on being able to like write a
2021 graduation of Shally Zomorodi University, and our keynote speaker is here. She just wants to give you a few key points, guys.
Give you a few key points. Do what you love every day. If that's family, if that's life, if that's cooking, if that's friendships, if that's a job that you love, do what you love every day. Life changes in 1 second. In 1 second. I see that on a daily basis for hours and hours and hours a day, that life changes. And most of the time, it's not when you want it, how you want it, and by who you want it to be, because we just don't have control over it. So while you are here, while you can, dance, love, live, and enjoy every single moment of this life. Even when it rains, find that strength to dance in the rain. Yeah. That would be one of my biggest advice to that generation that's coming up. Don't ever let anybody take your thunder away. I know it's hard to say. I struggle with it too. I cried so much last week. I had to go to some mean people that were just doing some mean things to me. But at the same time, find your strength and lean on people, if that is a psychologist or family or friends or people around you who can help you shift, who can help you come back so you don't stay in that darkness and that sadness forever. And finally, yeah, just eat a lot of hormozavzi and dance, and don't let anybody tell you not to. That would be my advice.
Like, I think the last two were really hit home of those today because of you. I have one more question too, because we just talked about advice. Give us some keys to success for a loving, beautiful marriage with children around you abound. Like, what keeps you and Bruce grounded together in love? You know what I mean? Like, what keeps that going?
Yeah, 22 years. I was peeking to see if he's around here, because our marriage has definitely gone up, and there have been a few times that we've both been like, we're out.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, come on, it's marriage. 22 years with one person, then you throw 4 kids and all the problems that come with life. But at the end of the day, Bruce and I rely on marriage family therapy to get through our life and through helping us raise kids. Nobody gave us a manual how to raise 4 kids. So, and that's one thing that I am a huge advocate for, is find a way to be able to talk to each other without anger, rage, disrespect, and work through life. And always, if you can, and I know this is hard with kids, and if you don't have that support system, we're so blessed that we have family around us that constantly come in and act as babysitters for us. Find time to be alone with each other. You might see me post a lot on Fridays that Friday nights belong to us. Most of the time, I deny going to anything, because that's our night to be Bruce and Shally, to be Behruz and Shally, to remind each other why we love each other. Because I don't know, if I'm around 4 kids and Bruce sometimes,
you're like, wait, why am I doing this again? You have to remind yourself every week, this is why I'm doing this.
This is why. Then on Friday nights, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love you so much. You're the sweetest.
And by Thursday night, you're like, okay. Until I'm reminded why I'm doing this again. Got it. Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I didn't feel this conversation is so great. I didn't want to interrupt you, but we're running a little bit out of time, and we have lots of questions that I wanted to get a chance to address. So let's get right into it. We got a lot of comments similar to this one. It's not necessarily a question, but it's a comment, and I just wanted to share it with you. This viewer says, I love watching you on the news and to see how your colleagues react to you each time you are dancing and playing Iranian music. You are an inspiration. Please keep it up.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that means a lot. Thank you so much. My colleagues love Persian music. They really, really do. And if you've noticed, they've gotten so much better. Have you seen them? Like, oh, they're better than me.
As an Iranian, it's so thrilling to see their reaction too, and how they're enjoying the beats and enjoying the music. So it makes us all proud. The other question we got is, have you ever been to Iran? If you could go back to Iran, what would be the first thing you would do, or what place would you visit?
I love that question. I've shared this before. I've never lived in Iran. I wasn't born in Iran. The last time I went to Iran, I was 4 years old, and I was there for 2 weeks. So I have very few memories. I remember like Pofak. I remember walking in the airport and seeing my family stacked up head after head, and very like just flashes. So there's such a dream in my head of what it would be like to go, and 80% of my family lives in Iran. So I think if I walked and put my foot in Iran one day, I will freeze. I think when the second my feet go out there, I might just stop and just sit for a minute. And then somebody take me to the best chola kababi restaurant on the planet, because I want to see how different it is than the food here.
Good answer. We all have those memories of, being in Iran as a child and things that we relate to. The next question is for both of you. Who is your favorite Iranian singer, male and female?
Ooh. Shally, you can go first.
You already know this. My heart belongs to Sharom Shapare, but I love Sharom Shapare. But there are so many incredibly talented singers. I mean, Moin is in my house, Kamran Human is in my house, Shajarian is in my house. Like the list goes on. And the same for females. I mean, Shakila, oh my gosh, Hangame, amazing. I mean, the list goes on. We have really, really talented singers. Nazanin, you're up.
I'm gonna just stick to the old school because that's what I grew up on. So that's where my first love came from. So it was always, for me, it was Ebijun and Ostad Shajarian. So it was, and that's like two different styles of music. So those were my two favorites and still are. And then female, I'll just say old school, and it's what I heard the most. It was like Haide and Gugu.
Oh, Haide, oh.
It's just, again, it's the feeling I get when I would listen to them then and still now, where I'm just like transported. So yeah.
Okay, I'm not a singer. Next life, I'll take singing lessons.
We'll do it together.
And what a gift to be able to sing, really. I admire how you manage being a mommy, wife, and run your high demand career. What is the #1 tip in getting it all done?
That's a good question, because I don't know if I get it all done every day. I just don't. And maybe the reason I can do it is I've accepted that I can't get it all done. You just can't. And if you let go of that perfectionism and just try to stay as organized as possible, at the end of the night, I say, okay, it is what it is. I did my best every day.
This one is for Nazanin John. Is there going to be a season 2 of Persia's Got Talent, and will you be returning?
Oh, I wish I had an answer. I truly, honestly don't have an answer right now.
Oh, I love that show.
We can all hope.
It was a great show, and you were great on it too. So
thank you so much.
There are so many more comments about how much everybody loves what you do, Shally John, and how you inspire them, and they love your positive energy sent over the camera or social media. And I just can go on. The list goes on. And people want to know where they can get the book. So if you're interested in purchasing the book, you can go either to farhang.org/Shally, or go to Shally's own website, which is Shallz, SHALLZ.com. And is the book available right now to purchase, right?
It is available for pre-order. They actually are just arriving now. So we're getting ready we have a big meet and greet event in August, and then they start shipping out the first week of September. So yes, you can pre-order your book. And just a note for all those comments that are coming in, which I can't see all of them, from the bottom of my heart, with every cell in my body, thank you, because you don't know, so many of you send messages that I change your life. I haven't met most of you, and you've changed my life. I mean, you really have. You also help give me this energy to show up every day and to fight, to keep putting out this positivity every day. This life is pretty tough sometimes, and we see some pretty unfortunate and bad things that are happening. If we keep that energy going and keep that light going, I do believe with all my might that we'll be able to shine out that darkness. So thank you. Without your messages, I wouldn't do what I do on a day-to-day basis. Trust me, it's a lot easier not dancing for you guys.
On that note, I want to thank you both. We have a lot more questions, but unfortunately we're running out of time. I want to thank you both for taking the time to join us today. And I want to also thank our incredible supportive audience who are here from all over the globe and who've attended today's talk. Again, thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure to have you. And we hope to do another talk very soon with both of you. Keep up what you're doing. We're here. We're supporting you, and we love you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Shally.
Thank you for this opportunity. It was so good to see you, and I hope to see all of you on the dance floor one day soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to dance with you.
Me too.
We look forward to welcoming everyone to our next edition of Farhang Connect. So be sure to visit farhang.org for a listing of all the latest programs and events coming up. We have a lot of great talks coming up and a lot of cool performances, and wish you a wonderful day, and farewell and goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Bye.